October 12, 2023, 11:47 p.m. Maple Heights, Colorado. A woman whispers, "Alexa, call 911" into the darkness of her bedroom. But by the time help arrives, it's too late. What police discovered next would change everything we think we know about privacy technology and the devices we trust most. Because sometimes the very technology meant to make our lives easier becomes the witness to our darkest moments. This is the story of how a smart home became the perfect witness to murder. Meet Jessica and Mark Harrison, a tech-savvy couple living what appeared to be the perfect modern life in suburban Colorado. Jessica, 29, was a digital marketing specialist who worked from home. Mark, 32, was a software engineer at a growing tech startup. They were the couple that had everything: successful careers, a beautiful home, and a marriage that looked picture-perfect on social media. But the Harrisons weren't just living in the digital age, they were living in a fully connected smart home. Amazon Echo devices in every room, Ring doorbell cameras, smart lights that responded to voice commands, a Nest thermostat that learned their schedule, security cameras inside and out. Even their refrigerator was connected to the internet. Jessica loved the convenience. "Alexa, dim the lights." "Alexa, play my relaxation playlist." "Alexa, order more coffee." Their entire life was managed by voice commands. What Jessica didn't know was that this same technology she trusted would soon record the final moments of her life. To understand what happened on October 12th, we need to examine the Harrison smart home setup, because every device they owned would become crucial evidence in a murder investigation. Living room: 2 Amazon Echo devices, one on the coffee table, one on the entertainment center, both constantly listening for the wake word, "Alexa." Kitchen: Echo Show with a screen, perfect for following recipes and making video calls. Also equipped with a camera that could be activated remotely. Bedroom: Echo Dot on Jessica's nightstand, positioned just 3 feet from where she slept every night. This device would prove to be the most important piece of evidence in the case. But the Harrisons had even more connected devices. Smart light switches that logged every time lights were turned on or off. A smart doorbell that recorded everyone who approached their home. Motion sensors that tracked movement throughout the house. Their smart TV recorded viewing habits. Their phones tracked location data. Even their smart watch fitness trackers logged heart rates, sleep patterns, and activity levels. What seemed like the ultimate in modern convenience was actually creating a digital diary of their entire lives. And on October 12th, that diary would record a murder. While the Harrison social media showed a perfect relationship, their smart home was recording a different story. Amazon stores voice recordings for months after activation. When police obtained warrants to access this data, they discovered that the Echo devices had been accidentally triggered hundreds of times over the past 6 months. What they heard painted a disturbing picture of a marriage in crisis. July 15, 2023, 2:30 a.m., Echo device accidentally activated during an argument. "You're always on that phone, always working, always ignoring me. I'm trying to build my career, Mark. Someone has to pay the bills around here." August 3, 2023, 11:45 p.m. Another accidental recording. "I saw the text from your client. Don't lie to me, Jessica. They're work texts, Mark. You're being paranoid again." But it wasn't just the voice recordings. The smart home data revealed other concerning patterns. Smart lock logs showed Mark coming home at unusual hours. Motion sensors detected him moving through the house in the middle of the night, often ending up outside Jessica's home office. Her computer activity, tracked through their shared network, showed Jessica was working later and later, often until 2 or 3 a.m. Friends later said she was trying to avoid going to bed at the same time as Mark. The smart doorbell cameras captured something even more disturbing: Mark following Jessica when she left for her morning jogs, maintaining distance but clearly tracking her movements. October 12, 2023. The day that would expose the dark truth about the Harrison marriage began like any other day in their connected home. 6:30 a.m., smart coffee maker automatically starts brewing. Motion sensors detect Jessica in the kitchen. 7:15 a.m. ring doorbell records Jessica leaving for her morning jog, same route she took every day. 8:30 a.m. Jessica returns, smart lock logs her entry using her phone app. 9 a.m. Mark leaves for work, also logged by the smart lock system. But here's where it gets interesting. Mark's phone GPS and their shared car's tracking system tell different stories. Mark's work is 15 minutes east of their home, but his phone GPS shows him driving west toward the mountains, then returning home by 10:30 a.m. When questioned later, Mark claimed he went to work as usual. He had no explanation for the GPS data. 3:45 p.m., home security cameras show Mark returning from work, but his behavior is different. Instead of his usual routine, he goes directly to the garage and spends 45 minutes there with the door closed. 6:30 p.m. dinner time. The smart home tells a story of a tense evening. Smart lights are turned on and off frequently, unusual activity suggesting restlessness. The TV viewing data shows constant channel changing. Voice commands to Alexa are short and irritated. 10:15 p.m., this is when the evening takes a dark turn. 10:15 p.m., the bedroom echo dot is accidentally activated by loud voices. What it records over the next hour and 32 minutes will become the key evidence in a murder case. The argument starts in the hallway but moves to the bedroom. I know about David. I've seen the messages, the late-night calls. David is a client, Mark. How many times do I have to explain this? But Mark had discovered something that Jessica thought was hidden. Her smartphone, synced to their home network, had been backing up photos automatically to their shared cloud storage. Mixed in with work photos were personal images. Jessica and David, her client, had business dinners that looked more like dates. Business dinners? At romantic restaurants? Holding hands across the table? You've been spying on me. Going through my phone, my photos. I didn't have to spy. Your precious smart home did it for me. 10:45 p.m., the argument escalates. Smartwatch data from both devices shows elevated heart rates. Jessica's reaching 140 BPM, Mark's hitting 160 BPM. 11:20 p.m., motion sensors detect rapid movement in the bedroom. The sound of furniture being knocked over triggers multiple echo devices throughout the house. 11:31 p.m., Jessica's smartwatch records her heart rate spiking to 180 BPM, then beginning to drop rapidly. 11:47 p.m., this is when Jessica whispers into the darkness, "Alexa, call 911. 911, what's your emergency?" But Jessica never responds. The Echo device remains connected to 911 for 4 minutes and 23 seconds, recording only silence, labored breathing, and then nothing. 11:52 p.m. Maple Heights police receive a 911 hang-up call from the Harrison residence. Officer Patricia Chin is dispatched to check on the family. 12:08 a.m. Officer Chin arrives to find the house dark except for smart lights that are flashing in an erratic pattern, a sign that the home's automation system has been disrupted. Mark answers the door, claims everything is fine, that it must have been an accidental activation. But Officer Chin notices scratches on his arms and what appears to be blood on his shirt. 12:15 a.m., Jessica is found in the bedroom, unconscious and barely breathing. She's rushed to Denver General Hospital but dies from her injuries 3 hours later. The official cause of death: blunt force trauma to the head, consistent with being struck with a heavy object. Mark's story is simple. Jessica fell and hit her head on the nightstand during an argument. He was trying to help her when police arrived. But the smart home had recorded a very different story. Detective Sarah Martinez, a specialist in digital forensics, was called in to analyze the data from the Harrisons' connected devices. What she discovered was a minute-by-minute recreation of a premeditated murder. The echo recordings revealed that Mark had been planning this confrontation for weeks. In accidentally triggered recordings from previous nights, he could be heard practicing what he would say, rehearsing his accusations. Smart lock data showed Mark had been testing different entry and exit routes through their home, timing how long it took to move from room to room. Most damaging of all, the bedroom echo had recorded the actual moment of the attack. Mark's voice, "You've ruined everything. Our marriage, my life, everything." Then the sound of Jessica pleading, followed by 3 distinct impact sounds. Smartwatch data confirmed Jessica's heart stopped at exactly 11:46 p.m., 1 minute before she whispered her final request for help. But Mark's attempts to cover up the crime were also being recorded by their smart home system. After Jessica died, Mark spent the next 22 minutes trying to stage the scene to look like an accident. Motion sensors tracked him moving Jessica's body, attempting to position her near the nightstand to support his story of an accidental fall. Smart lights logged him turning lights on and off as he cleaned up evidence. The home's Wi-Fi network recorded him using his phone to delete text messages and photos, not realizing that everything was already backed up to the cloud. Most incredibly, the Echo device recorded Mark's voice commands as he tried to erase evidence. "I'm sorry, I can't delete recordings from this device. You can manage your recordings in the Alexa app." Mark didn't realize that deleting recordings required account access that Jessica controlled, and that all voice data was stored on Amazon servers beyond his reach. March 15, 2024, 5 months after Jessica's death, Mark Harrison goes on trial for first-degree murder. The prosecution's case was built entirely on digital evidence from the couple's smart home. Amazon provided over 200 voice recordings spanning 6 months. Google turned over location data from their phones and cars. Their smart home system had created an unbreakable digital chain of evidence. The defense argued that smart home devices could malfunction, that recordings could be misinterpreted, that digital evidence wasn't reliable. But the jury heard Jessica's voice, scared and pleading. They heard Mark's threats, his planning, his failed cover-up attempts. After deliberating for just 2 hours, the jury returned a guilty verdict on all charges. Mark Harrison was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. During sentencing, Judge Maria Rodriguez made a statement that would become famous in legal circles. The defendant thought he could commit the perfect crime in the privacy of his own home. What he didn't realize is that in the digital age there is no privacy. The very technology he lived with became the witness that brought him to justice. Today, the Harrison home sits empty, its smart devices disconnected, its digital voices silenced. Jessica Harrison's death sparked a national conversation about smart home privacy and digital surveillance. But it also demonstrated something remarkable, that technology can be the voice for those who can no longer speak. The case established legal precedent for using smart home data in criminal trials. Jessica's law, named in her honor, now makes it easier for authorities to access digital evidence in domestic violence cases. Mark Harrison's conviction was the first murder case in Colorado to be decided primarily on smart home evidence. It won't be the last. Every day our devices listen, watch, and record. They know our routines, our relationships, our secrets. And sometimes when justice needs a witness, they become the voice of truth. Jessica Harrison couldn't call for help in time to save her own life. But her smart home spoke for her in court, ensuring that her killer would never hurt anyone else. Remember, in a world where everything is connected, someone is always listening. The question is, are you ready for your devices to testify? If this case opened your eyes to the hidden world of digital evidence, subscribe to Crime Uncover for more investigations that reveal how technology is changing the face of justice forever.